Welcome in, Ely Domer Amy. Nice to see you, miss. Welcome in. Let's see. Should we do a little quick? Let's see here. Let's look up some really quick spirit cooking photos so that we know what the hell we're talking about here tonight. Marina Abramović. Spirit cooking. So we're going to be diving a little bit deep into this chick. Let's see, which ones am I looking for? So one of the things that Marina Abramović is known for is having these giant spirit cooking things where, you know, you're not allowed and I'm not allowed, but the elites are allowed. And what spirit cooking is they put a representation of a human body on a platter, and it's representing. We just made up that word. Human sacrifice. John Podesta, known for a little bit of spirit cooking with this famous photo of 14 and the fish. Cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand and eat the pain. If you do zoom in on this, he is wearing a band-aid around his middle finger. Yeah, let's get into it. Davos looking into Marina Abramović is a little crazy, if you ask me, and I really can't wait. I really can't wait to learn more. Let's go.
Go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Joseph Fowler, and I'm the head of arts and culture at the World Economic Forum.
What's up, Joseph?
A very warm welcome to all of you that are joining us here in the Fusion Room in Davos, and a very warm welcome to everyone who is joining us online. Before we start this afternoon's session, I invite you very quickly to check your phones to make sure they are switched to silent so we don't disturb the session once it begins.
Can you guys make sure about that, please?
This afternoon's session is called Radical Stillness. Our speakers will be Hans-Ulrich Obrist, the artistic director of the Serpentine Galleries, and Miriam Varadinis, director, founder of Miriam Varadinis Art Agency, and the curator of The Bus. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to Mr. Hans-Ulrich Obrist.
Ooh, radical stillness.
Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for joining us online.
Is he wearing
Joseph,
no way he's wearing red shoes. No way. That's got to be the LED lights.
And congratulations again to you for the culture program, still feeling transformed by last night's concert. And art transforming us is, of course, the topic of what we're going to discuss today in relation to the work of Marina Abramović.
Okay, it is.
And the bus, and of course also the topic of the spirit of dialogue. André Hoffmann yesterday said dialogue means open your ears, listening and contributing. And this idea of Marina Abramović's radical stillness has a lot to do with listening, and it's something which has played a very central role in my work as a curator, because I do listen to artists. I have daily conversations with artists. I've recorded so far about 4,000 hours of conversations with artists, which kind of forms an archive. And Marina is one of the artists I have talked to most. We have probably recorded more than 40 interviews so far in very, very many locations, on a mountaintop, on a bullet train, in Japan, in a pharmacy, in a monastery. It's a kind of an infinite conversation. So I'm going to give you a bit of context.
In the pool of the Vanderbilts.
Background to the bus, and the curator of this project, Miriam Varadinis, will then follow and give you a detailed explanation, and we hope you can then all join the experiment at the end of the talk. The bus is not going anywhere. You can enter the bus and join the journey. Etelana always said we need to learn to listen again. And of course, listening is a transformative act. Stillness, as John Cage taught us, is a state of attention. It means also that we actually stop to impose meaning. We become still. We're listening to everything which is already happening. And that's really what is happening in the bus, but it's also what is happening in a project we did at the Serpentine with actually Marina many years ago, almost 10 years ago.
The Serpentine is a weird name for something.
Here you see the pavilion.
That's
Every
like
summer we have a pavilion in
reptilian
front of the
symbology.
Serpentine in London. It's an annual commission, and we then hand over really the gallery and work very closely with artists to create a total work of art, a kind of a Gesamtkunstwerk. So we literally gave Marina the key and allowed her to realize her really radical, transformative project to slow down, to
Valley Home,
focus,
it's Pats.
and
Welcome
to give
home.
us access to multiple planes of experience. She stripped away all the elements which we usually have in an exhibition. So there were no objects, there was no furniture, there was no lighting. For her, it had to do with the Sanskrit Tibetan idea of suchness. It's an emptiness, which is also full. People had to leave behind their bags, their mobile phones. They were really invited to listen. They couldn't take any recording devices into the gallery. And the performance happened really between Marina and the viewers. Marina was there for 512 hours, non-stop. She didn't miss a single hour and met every single visitor, tens of thousands of people. You know, she directly interacted with them. And what was particularly moving is that she also put many visitors to bed so that they could fall asleep in the exhibition, which kind of is an incredible childhood memory, you know, of our parents putting us to bed.
Did these people have
really
jobs?
If we think about here, a handwritten little note Marina wrote during this project, which I think relates also to the bus. You're going to hear more about it from Miriam. And here you see really, it was just Marina and the visitors interacting, being together. This idea of togetherness, we live in a very polarized time. Art can make a major contribution to bring people together who otherwise wouldn't come together. One of the many reasons I think why we need...
I think that like the deep, deep recesses of art and the deep, deep recesses of fashion have a lot of weird stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I think that that's like the way in. If you're into art or if you're into fashion, that's the way into like upper levels of the Illuminati.
Art spaces more than ever before. And of course, Marina's work is legendary. There is a long history back to the late 60s, early 70s. She was born in 1946 in Belgrade, is the great pioneer of performance art and has always tested physical and also mental limits of performance and the human body. I'm going to show you another project, actually, which precedes, in a way, the bus here in Davos, and that is her Art Vital Manifesto, which was related to a project she did with Ulay. Marina used to collaborate with Ulay, and they basically lived in a bus for several years. They were nomads in a camper van, and for them, the camper van was not only their home, but it was actually also a tool, a device for their many performances. It was a second-hand Citroën van, which they had painted in black, and there was almost nothing in it. A mattress, a stove, and of course, their incredible dog who was with them. Here you see the bus, and they drove with this bus all over Europe and created performances, spent many years living.
That dog doesn't have a license.
The dog Alba, driving across Europe, recalling these years. Marina thought of the total freedom she had. For her, it was the happiest years of her life, she said. And in a way, it was the manifesto of Art Vital, which really brought it together. It also was the idea of leaving the museum. It was the idea of actually carrying art into society, which I think today, again, is a very important thing. We're going to discuss this with Miriam later in the conversation. It's something John Dewey pointed out in Art as Experience, such a fundamental book from 1934, where Dewey talked about this idea that we, in a way, need to always think how this very refined and intensified form of experience, which art is, can be shared with the world also in everyday events. How we can actually bring art and life together, something which Marina has been doing really for many, many decades. Here you have another image of the bus, and this is the perfect transition now. You're going to hear about the bus in Davos. It's a 30-minute experience, so it's important that you liberate in this very busy week 30 minutes. But
okay.
in a way,
let's smoke.
Is also about liberating time. The
Smoke them if you got them.
Philippe Barreno and Pierre Week once created a society to liberate time. And I think we live in a moment where this is more important than ever. We have to liberate time. So let's liberate time and now give a very warm welcome to Miriam Varanidis.
Domebot says that Marina Abramović will be 80 on November 30th, 2026. Welcome in, Kara. Nice to see you, Elite Domer.
Thank you very much, Hans-Ulrich, for this introduction. And I'm very happy now to take over, and my part will now be essentially focused on the bus. It's actually this new project that is having its premiere today. So you're really like the first ones to get to see it, to get to experience it. So don't miss it. It's today, the first day.
Don't miss the bus.
And
get your schedules out.
It's actually a part of the official arts and culture program of this year's annual meeting. The bus, you'll see it now. So it's just simply called The Bus. So that's the title of this new
groundbreaking.
work. And the bus is actually an old school bus that you see here. And it's an old school bus that is transformed into a mobile exhibition space on wheels. And it is a part like mobile sculpture and part like mobile meditation capsule, I would define it. And it combines many of the key ideas that we already heard now from Hans-Ulrich also of Marina's work, so which is basically the artwork as an immaterial experience. It's all about the experience. Marina always says, you give me your time and I give you an experience. So as Hans-Ulrich said already, like please liberate these 30 minutes and you will have an incredible and unforgettable experience, transformative experience, I would even call it.
I'm here, let's go.
The notion of stillness and the different sensations
I got an appointment.
Key to the bus. Especially relevant in today's society, of course, when we're always linked to digital tools and like always exposed to digital noise. So to deconnect and kind of focus on the present moment. And it's also in this moment then reconnecting with yourself and the present moment.
Is this
and
what rich people, is this what rich people get to talk about all day long? I think this is what John Adams said something like this when he was off in Paris doing something. Like Paris is like they're like, oh, what do you teach your kids? Oh, I teach my kids agriculture so that one day their children can learn about philosophy, so that one day their children can learn about art or something like that. Like, how many rungs up are these people in the fucking world? Welcome in, Timothy Ballyhope.
These experiences outside the museum's walls. It brings art to the people and invites them to sit in silence.
Ballyhope Silver Wizard.
And the bus will then stop in various locations after Davos, and each will create a unique encounter then with a specific context and the audience that will be there. And it will especially, that is really important, unite people of different background. So here again, we're with this, like the idea of the dialogue and bringing people together through art, which is key to this project. In a time that is defined by uninterrupted connectivity and escalating demands for attention, the bus invites you to begin an inward journey. One that privileges awareness over efficiency, reflection over reaction, and presence over performance. Marina would say it in these words: in a world that rarely pauses, perhaps the most transformative act is simply to stop and listen. It sounds simple, but isn't under the constant pressure to perform more, faster, and better today. How strong such a moment of silence can be.
The lady taking the picture of the quote that's telling her to stop and listen and take it all in is fucking, this is a great moment of society right here. Yes, you got it, lady.
Today. How strong such a moment of silence can be showed Marina's intervention in June 2024 at the music festival in Glastonbury. In response to the many crises and conflicts in today's world.
If anyone out there, if anyone in the dome just knows how to go out there and just be, I think it's fucking Dome Stop Believin'. I mean, this chick travels the world and she flies kites. Ah.
The festival's 250,000, imagine that number, attendees to spend 7 minutes of absolute silence with her.
Rum, it's not this lady is who we're talking about. We're talking about Maria Abramović.
Not an easy task when you think of the
Spirit
state
cooking.
of mind people are in at a pop concert. Ahead of the event, Marina said, they're drinking, they're taking drugs, the weather is nice, and I asked them to be silent and to reflect on the state of this planet, which is really hell right now. But the energy relationship between the audience
only because the
and Marina
robots
was so
haven't
strong
taken
that
over.
it worked out, and the people in the audience joined in this collective moment of silence that opened up space for reflection and also empathy. On the stage stood Marina in an impressive dress that was designed by her friend and former Burberry creative director.
That is
Ricardo
not
Tisci.
real.
When her arms were outstretched, you see it on the picture, it opened up into a giant peace sign.
It looks more like an octopus.
Like the collective intervention in Glastonbury, the boss is also grounded in the belief that unity has become a fragile and rare resource.
What's up, sign
In our
ups?
conflict-ridden times, and that we need to create space where common ground can be remembered or found. The bus aims to have an impact in this upside-down world. This is also why Marina and I approached the World Economic Forum with the idea to launch the bus here in Davos. And we are happy, very happy, to have found mutual interest from the forum side, and of course also with Joseph, a great partner to
I bet a lot of other
realize
things happen
this
in that
vision.
bus this weekend.
The annual meeting is one of the rare global stages where leaders, decision makers, and influential thinkers gather. We invite these figures, this means you here in the audience, to step on the bus, leave your digital device behind, and collectively gather in a moment of pause and reflection.
Welcome in, fan man. Nice to see you
Of course,
again.
the bus or art in general cannot change the world. We don't have to expect miracles. But
Wait a minute. What?
art has
This
the
can't change?
potential to open up new perception
My hopes were
on
up.
things and transform you on an individual level. When visiting the bus, you'll experience this transformative energy. We did that too yesterday when we visited the bus, right, Hans Ulrich? You come out in a completely different state of mind. And imagine,
Yeah, it's all the
if
adrenochrome.
this slight individual shift is being multiplied by all the participants here in Davos, this can lead really to a collective impact in the end. And the bus is therefore an experiment in how silence can reshape perception and how stillness can shift collective consciousness. The instruction is to participate is super simple. You can read it here. The bus is not going anywhere. You enter the bus and then you're invited for an internal journey. The journey, its duration is 30 minutes. And then upon entering the bus,
Oh, do we get to see the inside? You can't see anything out, huh?
Their phones and watches.
You can't see anything in and you can't see anything out, and it's parked on the top of some kind of concrete slab that you can easily make a tunnel. I'm no conspiracy theorist.
Initiating a brief yet meaningful digital detox. A maximum of 12
Where do you put your phone?
persons are allowed at the same time. Inside the bus, you'll be guided by a video and Marina's voice to follow some exercises of the Abramovic method. That's a method that she initially kind of developed for herself to prepare for long-durational performances. One of the exercises that Marina invites you to do in the bus is to look at the primary colors for a specific amount of times. So you look first at red for a specific amount of time, you look at yellow for a specific amount of time, and at blue.
I like the blue.
This is only part of the journey. I won't disclose
What does
more
that say
because
about me?
otherwise you don't want to come. But you have to come and experience it yourself. After Davos, the next stop will be in summer in Zurich, where we will collaborate with the University of Zurich and its researchers. And the focus there will be on topics like digital detox, mental health. And while these issues affect many, they're especially urgent for young adults and adolescents. And we in collaboration with Marina, we will develop specific workshops for these
How many
audiences.
I don't perceive Davos as being a young person's conference at all. I bet there's no one in their 20s at this thing.
But throughout the summer, the bus will be open to the wider public in a central park in Zurich. And this collaboration with the university shows also the potential of the bus as a tool for transformation and research in the educational field. So further stops are being planned for the future, but have not been decided yet. But we, of course, we aim to also go outside Switzerland to Europe and ultimately, hopefully, also to other parts of the world. And in case one of you is interested in booking the bus or getting to know more about the bus or supporting the bus, I mean,
Timothy, don't say that in here. I make a living off of the internet. No. People need more screens. They need more dome. They need more Mr. Rotella. Come on, Timothy. Whose side are you on here?
To me. So now it's time to ask Hans Ulrich back on stage again. This was my part on the bus, please.
Why didn't they just drive the bus? Why are they towing the bus? Even the bus, even the bus was just being on its way to Davos, my friends.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's fascinating. I think that the bus you're showing here.
Let's see. I don't know if they're going to read this. For me, it's very important that I create the kind of circumstances where people actually forget about time, to learn to, I'm guessing, be present here and now.
Fascinating. I think that the bus you're showing here, the 512 hours at the Serpentine, they were unrealized projects of Marina. She talked about for many years. And if you think about the art world, you know, artists are always invited to do similar things. They're invited to do a museum show, a gallery show, sometimes to be in a biennial. But actually, very often artists have projects outside that framework, you know, which I always feel very important to actually kind of invert the process and think with artists, what would they love to do? What are projects which, within the parameters of the art world, you know, cannot happen? The kind of idea of mapping unrealized projects and then realizing them. And that, of course, can happen in the museum, as you could see with the 512 hours. Marina transformed the institution. I mean, she learned a lot, but we learned a lot. It was transformative for the Serpentine to have her 512 hours interacting with all our staff for such a long time, interacting with the public every single day. It's happening now again. If you're in London in the next 2 weeks, we did a similar experience with the painter and artist Peter Doig, who wanted to transform the gallery into a house of music, bringing his record collection. You can come and listen to his records. Look at his paintings.
Welcome in, John. Welcome in. Good luck
David
joining
Byrne
right
to
now.
Kwesi Johnson to Lizzie Bugazzo's Come and Play as guests, you know, their record collection. There is poetry, there is going to be a dance performance by Michael Clark, you know, so all the disciplines come together. It's like the realization of a very utopic idea Peter always had. But then, of course, artists have a lot of ideas outside the museum, which is the bus here, leaves the museum. Miriam is going to take it on a long tour, as you could hear. And, you know, mapping so many artists' unrealized projects over the years, I've, you know, asked artists this question again and again. It's interesting, I've analyzed that actually more than 58% of the artists' unrealized projects I've sort of mapped are for outside exhibition space, are kind of public art projects. And very often these are projects which are not events, they are not short term, they are long durational projects. And I think that's anyway something, I mean, the philosopher Roman Kaczarnik talks a lot about this idea not only that we have to liberate time, his new book...
Aram says this guy has more frames than the Louvre. Those are some those are some pretty heavy glasses, Aram. That's
book,
nice.
Actually, he told me about last week. It's going to be about time and how we can liberate time, so deeply related to your project. But he also talks about the necessity to go beyond short-termism. We live in a society where so many things in the political
12
cycle,
minutes.
in the economical cycle, in the artistic cycle, in all worlds, are connected to short-termism. And if you want to address the big challenges of the 21st century, the environmental crisis, the climate emergency, but many, many, many other things.
Exactly,
we need to go
John.
beyond that short-termism and have a sort of a long durational perspective. The French thinker Fernand Braudel talked about la longue durée, long duration. And I think it's fascinating that many artists right now have such long durational projects. Alexandra Daisy Ginsburg, rather than to do an exhibition, does gardens. She collaborates with AI on pollinator gardens. She collaborates with pollinators. And it's super fascinating. These are long-term projects. And I mean, your project that brings it back to the bus is something which starts here in Davos this week. And I mean, we and you are all the very first ones to see it and experience it. But it's then going to be very, very public. And
I wish Marina Abramović was here.
At the time, all over the world, all over Europe first. Can you talk a little bit about this long duration of your project?
Yes, I mean, as you said, it was really like during our, when Marina and I, we were collaborating on a large retrospective in Zurich at the Kunsthaus Zurich. And there we kind of found out our kind of mutual interest in...
That's an interesting red to use also.
Outside like the museum borders, right? To create moments where you can experience art outside the museum walls. And so the bus was something that was there already, as you said, like for quite a while. And it links back to her own kind of biography, as you saw, like with the van that she has been living in. But then this idea of bringing art to the people was something I was very fascinated with, something I've been thinking about also for quite a long time as a person who had been working for a long time within an institutional framework, but always kind of also curated outside, or like for biennials or like other exhibitions where you use, let's say, the public space as a material. So there we kind of connected very much on this idea of bringing art to the people. I remember in Switzerland there was like, when I was a kid, there was like a supplying like bus for Migros, which is like a supermarket, right? So they would come and the bus would come to your village or wherever you would live, and you could buy grocery, whatever you need. And I feel this idea of bringing, like having this bus and having art as a really kind of a very existential kind of element of your life, as like the same importance as when you buy milk or bread, this is something I'm very fascinated
Yes, art
with.
is just as important as bread.
Somehow the conversation started, and as you said,
I remember the good old art lines of the 1920s.
It's only the beginning. We don't really know where this journey is going to lead us, but it's a fascinating
art
kind of
lines,
moment
fucking
now to
hilarious.
see, like it's combining these ideas of liberating time, the value of time, of kind of deceleration, like all these like key topics we have to deal with. And I look forward to further develop. And it's also interesting because Marina has founded her own like institute where she already did a lot of, let's say, itinerant kind of projects in outside the museum.
You get a frame painting and some soup.
Also her idea of what a museum is actually very much connected, much more than to the architecture, but to the energy within the museum. So for her, the museum is basically a space which is more like a power central, where you have this exchange of energy. And this is what is happening now also in the bus. So that's what you felt also in Europe. Of course, I mean, the exhibition you did with her was one of the first where she eliminated
Harari coming up next.
Material kind of elements, like it was really
you
about
definitely want to stick around for that guy.
At the time, right?
Yeah, she didn't want to have anything in between her and the audience. Yeah. No objects. It was really her and the audience for.
Oh, great comment here from Vice. Vice says this is like characters from Beetlejuice.
For all these hours. And I think interesting also that it had a lot to do like with the experience we had yesterday with time. Now it goes kind of back to Roman Kaczarnik, that time is liberated when it stops being something you chase. And I felt that very strongly, which is why I hope you can all make this experience. And also, in a way, we can kind of reclaim time in a way from this urgency when time always feels scarce, when attention is fragmented. And I think that's, again, how art can liberate time. And in a way, of course, when this bus is going to go around Europe first and then maybe around the world, there are going to be so many people not from the art world who, who might never actually encounter art, who can have this transformative experience. And I think that's also our task today.
Hear that? The art world.
Is to go beyond.
What is the art world?
Museums and bring art into society. I mean, the other day, I came back from a trip and went to the office, to the Serpentine in London, really early, and a taxi driver said, "You must work there," because obviously nobody would go there at 7 a.m. And he said he wanted always to tell someone who works there the story of his daughter, because they kind of came on a walk on a Sunday, in Kensington Gardens, and all of a sudden the daughter ran into our pavilion, the architecture commission we have every year, and they couldn't for half an hour get her out of the pavilion. It was kind of mesmerized, and that was Gascano Pavilion, was 6-7 years ago, and he wanted to just tell us that now she's studying architecture. She found her vocation through that. And he also wanted to tell me that it was really only because we had open doors. There were no doors.
Taz Verche says, give me some of that fermented attention, baby. Yeah.
Just could run in because, he had already, his parents had told him museums are not for people like us. And he had told the same, actually, who his daughter. So she would never have made, and as we believe and can see, I mean, we could see this with the concert.
What you doing, Taz?
We can see it with the bus here. Art can lead to this transformative experience, and we want to create this for everyone. And that's why I think it's important that we go with art into society. And I love this idea that, this bus can go also into neighborhoods who might not have access necessarily.
That lady tried to pet Aria.
It's something Enzo Mari, the Italian designer, he did this with a bookshop. He designed a bus and brought amazing books into all the neighborhoods in Milan and in Italy. So I do think, we need more mobile exhibitions.
Yeah, I think it has a great potential to go out to the people, out of the protected framework of a museum with art and have this direct impact. I mean, I also experienced once a very kind of life-changing moment when I did one of these projects in the public space, and then this lady who had never seen would never go to a museum, but was kind of
good to hear, Tazzy,
as you said, by an artwork that was there, and then kind of discovered her love for art and completely changed also the way of how she would look at her own environment. This is what art can do also, completely change your perception of your surroundings and yourself. And this is what the bus is also doing.
Are we still talking about a bus?
I think we can actually open up also to the
floor. I got questions about spirit cooking. What the hell was that about?
To answer
questions or comments.
Comments, yes. There's a microphone.
Hi, I'm just wondering whether this method has resonated with a particular audience more than another, demographic.
Do people really have questions about this stuff?
You mean going outside the museum walls and going?
No, just generally.
What's up, number? Welcome in.
Or by community, or.
I think it is when you go outside the museum space, you reach out to basically everybody from children to elder people, all backgrounds. And this is also what the strength is of such an encounter. So you basically reach also out to people that not normally or go to a museum in first place. So this is
what's up, Speed?
The strength lies of these.
What I mean was the transformative experience.
Oh, you mean, okay. Yeah.
Has it been different for different demographics? I'm just curious.
Oh.
What people feel.
I don't really know.
Yeah, it's obviously difficult to, because each experience is so different. But it's an interesting question how we could actually, very concretely measure transformation? It's a
That's-
very interesting question. I mean, I
Well,
would
what
say
the fuck do people say when they get off the bus? That's the question. What do people say when they get off the bus? We're not looking for the actual inner being of light that appeared to them while they were in the exhibit. Holy shit, what are these people talking
that,
about?
it's definitely a very, transgenerational experience. I mean, we see when we also built these pavilions in the park, and of course Marina's exhibition was at the Serpentine in the park, we really see people of all generations kind of interact with that. And very often also people meet who otherwise wouldn't meet. I think that's another thing which is very important, is that we go beyond this idea, the silos, of the different parts of society who wouldn't meet, also the different disciplines. And that's, I think, again, what museums and exhibitions can do. They can break down these silos and bring people together who otherwise would never meet.
Okay, we have very little time left, so if anyone has
Oh, come on, someone have a
comment or
question.
A very straightforward question. Why Marina is not here? Usually she's doing installation and she had an exhibition. The
Thank
artist
you
is
for
present,
asking.
She's always present. How come she's not here for the launch of this experience?
It was for unforeseen circumstances not possible for her to be here, but she told us that she is here by telepathy, so she's with us
She
in
won't-
the,
yes,
in
it
the
was-
room. I also wanted to, just because we have a few seconds, say there is the unrealized project of Marina. She always wanted to realize, and maybe we can, before we then all go to the bus, quickly mention that. She wanted to tell us, when I asked her about the unrealized project, now that the bus is realized, and the 512 hours are realized, she dreams of a large plot of land with waterfalls, with rivers, animals, and vegetation. Here again, a long duration
Sounds like Terama.
project connected to gardens. She wants there to be 25 huts without any electricity. They'll have one simple bed, one chair, one table for total isolation. I want them to be decompression chambers. For these decompression chambers, you have to start with nature. Then the decompression chambers can travel to big cities and be part of department stores, part of the housing, or hotels.
Oh my God, I'm living in her dream as we speak.
You decompress from any kind of sound. You're just with nature. But I would
Oh
like to
my
build this on
God,
a
I'm
big
already
scale,
there.
So every continent has one. And maybe that's the perfect segue now to
Exactly.
you inviting everyone
Yes.
to go to the bus.
Holy
Exactly.
God, I'm already
It is
living in
actually
that.
also kind of a decompression chamber. And I would also, for those who have time, we do a special
That's
opening hour
weird.
now. For those who want, we can go together to the bus. And for those who cannot make it now, it's going to be open every day, like 8:30 in the morning to 10:30 in a half an hour rhythm, and then 1:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. But please come. For those who have time, come now with us, and we do a collective kind of walk there and experience together. That would be really beautiful. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
You would have loved to see Marina Abramović in the building. Missed opportunity. Woke says, sounds like one step away from suicide pods. Number says, you will eat the bugs and you will decompress. That's right. You know what? Whatever the hell that was, I enjoyed it. Coming up next, Yuri Harari. If you've never heard this guy before, you're going to want to stick around for this. This should be good. This is like the ultimate brain about the future of the New World Order. A lot of people listen to this guy. Stick around. We'll be right back after this musical break. Marina Abramović. Interesting.